do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. Hey, good afternoon. It is 12:03 Central Time here in Houston, Texas. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States, helping you solve your immigration problem. And look here, you're welcome to drop a question or share your experience in the chat box down below or on your respective platform. And if you are a first-time visitor here on the channel, go ahead and give us a follow. I guarantee you're going to appreciate how we share the responses here to some questions. And I'm going to try my best for at least 30 minutes a day. I've got a stack of meetings. So, but I know I do go live every day, Monday through Friday, to the best of my ability, unless I'm traveling or got something going on with family. Of course, traveling for work as well. So today's topic, okay, at least on YouTube and Facebook, of course, is if you're a first-time traveler, in the sense that you're a U.S. citizen, there's some things you need to know, okay? And the first thing, absolutely, I would think most people do this, is to apply for a U.S. passport. Because you just never know when you're going to start traveling, and you don't want to travel without a U.S. passport, of course. And then you can apply for, the clear system. You want to get through security faster at the airport. I actually just renewed my own passport a couple days ago, and my county actually has a service in their own county office, the county court, a building. Not all counties have their own, because usually you have to see if you could go to an actual court, like a federal court, and they usually have passport offices from the Department of State. But my county is very helpful in that sense. I don't have to pay like $35 extra, but here it is on YouTube and Facebook. You can see the website. So that being said, because I applied through the county, they use a different form, very similar, but different form. Of course, who would have thought? I actually used the wrong form. So it looked very similar to what they had. And also, if you're applying for your children, they have a different form. So if children is very specific, you're gonna have to find time if that you both parents attend, if they're still both involved. Another great thing that you need to know about the Department of State website, travel.state.gov, they have this link here called Track My Application Status. All right. So all you have to do is type in your last name, your date of birth, and last 4-digit social. And then essentially you can enter email, I believe, and just get periodic updates. So I need to do that for myself. But we're going on a trip out of the country, I believe, next month. So I looked at my passport. I was like, oh, shoot, I didn't get it together. Get my shit together. And they have expedite service. So check that out. Okay. So very important information you need to know. Don't wait on it, especially if your spouse is one of those has a travel bug. You don't want to disappoint them. So get it done. So in that similar vein, now to y'all folks who don't have any status, or maybe you're a resident holder, you need to get your act together, especially if you're sponsoring someone, because the immigration fees are going up. Okay. They're going up April 1st. That is 10 days from now, including today, I think. Okay. So you really need to get going on it. Currently, if you file for a marriage-based case, there is no separate fee for work permit. There's no separate fee for advanced parole. Okay. But starting April 1st, they will be separated. So you're going to have to pay a little bit more. Let me see if I can find my little chart here that I created. USCIS fees, I believe. There you go. Let me share my screen on that as well. Okay, let me add it back to YouTube and Facebook here. So you can see, even for H1B, the fee has always been $10 for H1B registration. Now that's going up to $215. Um, let's see here. There we go. I put it here on the side. There's going to be an extra fee for the work permit, 765 form. That's going to be $260. So the way I calculated, I got to recalculate, make sure, but it's going to be 2,375 total. I got to make sure if that includes advanced parole or not. But anyway, even advanced parole by itself, if you don't file together, you may have the potential to pay $630. Okay. Um, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Frustrating, right? I get it. You might not like that. Unfortunately, the fees are going up, folks. Congress gave the Department of Homeland Security the authority to increase their fees every, or at least look at it every 2 years. So it hasn't increased since, I believe, definitely before 2016. It could have been around 2013 when it was President Obama, and President Trump tried to increase it, but because he added a specific fee to asylum application, because right now it's $0, it was a hoopla on that, right? And I get it. Hoopla. I mean, there was a lawsuit that stopped it, and there is actually a lawsuit that was recently filed by one of my colleagues, I believe a group of colleagues, um, to stop the increase. But you don't want to depend on that lawsuit. Okay, just assume that the fees will go up. So if you're eligible, do not wait. If you're already preparing your own case, things like that, do not wait. Go ahead and file the case as soon as you get it all together. Don't be in one of those situations like, oh, I'll get to it later. You're gonna do this or that, and you get busy, right? It happens. Um, put it on your calendar. Okay, if you're gonna do this yourself, put it on your calendar. Even for our own clients, we have a plan that we're gonna file it on Monday. Okay, of course, assuming that our clients have been able to give us all the evidence we need. And of course, our team reviewed all the packages and did for due diligence. Our plan is for Monday. Okay. Because we're not going to wait the day before April 1st, because that's just not how we roll. The way we roll is to be prepared and get things done for you. Okay. In your best interest. All right. So let me get to some questions. How y'all doing today? Welcome, welcome. Alex, you asked how much is the fee? It depends on what you're applying for. I can't go through the entire list, but I did create a spreadsheet. Sorry, I know you're on TikTok, and TikTok, as far as I know, doesn't have a way for me to share the spreadsheet. Alrighty. Okay. Thanks for the follow, folks. LaGuardia staff, your probation is done in 2021. How long do you have to wait to file N400? So it depends on the if you got sponsored by a spouse and if you're still married to that spouse. If so, there's a 3-year good moral character period. Well, it seems like you know that because you mentioned 2021. So, let's say if it's January 2021 or your probation was completed, then you could file this year, January 2024. Okay. Because of 3-year good moral character period. Some people want to try to file it during the probation period. And it can get a little trippy on the website for the U.S. government, USCIS policy manual. But the good moral character period starts after your probation is completed. Of course, if you have probation. Thank you so much for the questions. By the way, if you're interested on how to contact us for a session, you're welcome to if you're on TikTok, go to our profile page, follow us, and there's a link under my picture, I believe. You click on it, and it'll take you to the link for the form. I mean, a few questions to answer. You'll get redirected to a payment link. Okay, just being transparent, let you know we don't charge a traditional consultation fee, but we do have a reservation/hold fee of this amount. I can't say it out loud because this platform where you can do the tapping doesn't like it when I mention it out loud. So it's only this amount. It's less than a cup of coffee, folks. So if you go to Starbucks or your favorite coffee shop, we don't even charge that amount. So we charge less than that. But it is refundable. It's really to make sure that you show up, because this is the reason we used to be completely no cost. But some people no showed, and I get it. You might get busy at work, but our team is depending. We have limited spots, folks. So if you don't mind, pay this amount, and we'll refund it if you show up. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, Yancy Martinez on TikTok. How long after a marriage interview will the 485 be approved? So there's no set timing. Unfortunately, it is seems like it's about for us. Fortunately, it's about a month or less. Most of the time, it's about 1 or 2 weeks. However, um, a lot of people comment on our show. Some people have been saying like 6 months, 3 months. Some people have been a year. I think I remember someone from a year yesterday that mentioned a year. So it's very unfortunate. And please do not let that affect your stress in the sense. I mean, I know it's stressful, but in the sense that you might start thinking like, oh, they don't think my case is good enough or whatnot. It's not always that situation because if they wanted to send you a request for evidence after the interview, they're usually pretty quick on that. Okay. So most of the time, I really believe that it's because they're not efficient. Some people, I think it's just a human error thing, if anything, like they're not organized. Um, there's still paper files. They use a computer, that's great, but it's still paper files. So when it's like that, it's unfortunately you would think it's more organized that way, but it's not. And they don't have a tracking system internally. So hopefully that gives you some context. Nicholas on TikTok. Hey, question: how long should you wait until you reach out or do something about your DS 5535? So, Nicholas, I suspect that you already provided your response on that form. Oh boy. So I would still wait 6 months, okay, to reach out to us. I mean, of course, reach out to them. Even after a month, you should reach out to your embassy or consulate that you had the interview at and check. But really, this is what happens, okay? I read a couple affidavits or declarations by one of the Department of State officers who has knowledge about the process. It doesn't go into great detail, unfortunately, understandably, but still unfortunate. But essentially, they subcontract out the background check, the vetting of the background check. And because of that, they don't have a set timing. And the way that the US government works is that, in general, full scale, the US government loves to subcontract out services. Think about the military, okay? So, so essentially, that's like less liability in that sense. So, so with that being said, you can reach out. I mean, you should at least once a month if you can, but they're probably going to give you a very generic response from the embassy or consulate saying we're still continuing background check, and you're telling yourself, or you know yourself, not telling yourself, you know yourself, there's nothing wrong with your background. And I get it. A lot of people, like 99.9%, people contact us. Majority of people, there's no issue with the background. It's just the way the process or lack of process is with the U.S. government at this embassy level, okay, or the State Department. And I'm definitely not. I'm in no way giving Department of State any excuses. I'm just sharing what the officer put in the affidavit. Okay. Hey, what's up, John on YouTube? You and your wife are planning to apply for AP to visit her grandpa in New Mexico. Great, wonderful. He is sick, and she'd like to see him before he passes. Absolutely. Does she have to provide her mom's birth certificate? So yeah, I briefly mentioned this yesterday. I recommend it, especially when it's a grandparent, just so they can establish the relationship further in case USCIS has a question about that. Because of course, I mean, absolutely write that what we call a cover letter explaining it. Um, and in fact, if there's, I know I mentioned something about medical records yesterday, I believe. But if there's another family member there that's helping out the grandparent, you said oh yeah, grandpa, um, maybe have that person sign an affidavit, right? You just want to do anything possible that can um, get it approved. That's truthful, right? I just would hate for you to just provide one document and assume it would be approved, you know? Your follow-up question. Oh, okay. Why is Bertram already listed grandpa's name as a witness? Does it actually identify the grandpa as a grandpa? You know what I mean? As opposed to witness only. Like, does it say relationship on the side? That's the key thing. Reason asking is because mom might not be able to find her certificate. Yeah, I definitely get that. I mean, I couldn't even. I was trying to renew my driver license yesterday, and then needed an original or certified copy of my birth certificate. I was like, I remember where it was like 4 years ago, but now we have accumulated so much paperwork. I don't know. So I can definitely understand that part. Okay, it does say grandpa. Okay, well then I would think you should be fine then. Okay, I mean I hope it works out. I mean it's timing. You don't time is on your side, so yeah, definitely file it as soon as possible. And let me check this out. I think the 131 could be filed online. Let me check real quick for you. Yeah, you can file the I-131 online, so that's great. Maybe that could save you a week in terms of you know, USCIS receiving the application. All right, so good luck to you on that. I'm sure you know what the website is, but let me go and just, since I already have it open, let me just share it with you there. All righty. Uh, Absolutely. Happy to help. All righty. Let's see. Thanks for the follow, folks. Appreciate it. And I apologize if I can't answer your comment. I probably won't for everyone, but I'll try my best. Let's see. Okay. On TikTok, thunder snow. When your wife overstayed charges, charges are dropped. Okay. Can you file for her immediately? Um, well, depending on the charges, you might be able to file for her now. Maybe it's not. Maybe you already talked to a lawyer, but in general, um, because yeah, depending on the type of criminal charge, you might be able to actually file for now and do it before the April 1st fee increase. So if you might have a question about it, but if you're going to ask an attorney, it's always best to share um, the documentation, the charging document is what we call it, like what your wife was charged with. Um, of course, I would recommend a criminal defense attorney for your wife. That really is advice number one. I mean, yes, the counties have public defenders. They're free. They're no cost. But they're busy. I mean, not to say that's an excuse. Everyone's busy, right? But I've tend to find from everyone that's commented and lawyers telling me criminal defense attorneys, and they take over a case. Like it's kind of like our law firm taking over a case. Like we've seen, like there could have been more proper what do you call it? Advocacy. Okay. Not saying they did anything wrong legally, but the advocacy could be way more. Let's see here. A lot of wonderful questions. I will try to answer as many as I can. Someone asked why are you getting this live stream on FYP? Okay, so the reason is because you may have searched about immigration question. If you didn't, then of course don't stay on. But yeah, my name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States, helping you solve your immigration problem or preventing that problem from happening in the first place. So thanks for joining the show. Okay, Karina, you're currently pregnant. Congratulations to you. Can you still sponsor your husband if you're not working? Yeah, it's definitely possible. So I think you're concerned about the affidavit of support form, the 864. Um, you either can use your assets. If you're a U.S. citizen, I don't know if you said that, but if you're a U.S. citizen, then it's times three. If you're a resident, then it's times five. And what I mean by the multiplication is the difference. So I'm just making up numbers here without looking at the chart. But let's say a household size of two is you have to show income of 25,000. Then if your assets show 20,000, then that's a 5,000 difference. Then you got to times that by three, since assuming you're a U.S. citizen. If you're not a U.S. citizen and you're a resident, then it's times five. So it might be just easier to ask a buddy. Okay, it actually doesn't even have to be someone you know, but of course you want to hire someone that you trust, and really that joint sponsor, that person is going to want to trust you, right? So that person has to be a resident or a U.S. citizen. Congrats again on your pregnancy. Although this show is about immigration advice, I'm happy to share advice about toddlers. Wish you all the best, new parents and current parents. Alrighty. Candy, Your marriage I-130 case is approved. What's the next step? So I would need to know if you're the beneficiary, if that's you or your spouse, is in the United States and you enter the visa or not. But assuming you literally only filed the I-130, you're not eligible for adjustment of status, then if you enter the United States without a visa, you don't qualify for an exception to have the interview in America, then you need to file a waiver. It's a 601A waiver. But in general, aside from the waiver, expect an email from the National Visa Center, which is like a sub agency of Department of State, and you're going to get an email within average 1 to 3 weeks. On average, could be 5 weeks, but on average 1 to 3 weeks, it'll come with a new case number. So don't get confused, but the new case number is essentially a case number with the National Visa Center, and the three first characters are related to the consular embassy, alpha characters. Everything else is numbers. Okay, and then below that line item is a um, another number, an invoice ID number. So you need both of those as essentially your login information to the portal, the government portal where you upload financial documents and other things, the cac.state.gov. Okay. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. By the way, folks, if you're just now joining, you're wondering how to get in touch with us, we appreciate it. You can go to if you're on TikTok, go to our profile, click on that. There's a link under my picture, and I believe the first link after that is a form, a few questions. Now, keep in mind, after you do that, after you click submit, you're going to be redirected to a payment page of only asking for this amount. Okay. We don't want to do that, but several people in the past month have not showed up to the meeting. So, to ensure that you show up, it's kind of like a hotel. You have a hold on your credit card. So we will, if you show up, we'll absolutely refund it. We don't want to keep money based on that. And our team's going to pre-qualify you for a strategy session with an attorney. Okay. Let's see here. Which also, after you pay this amount, then you're gonna get redirected again to our calendar. Okay, that you can self-schedule. You don't even have to call in to schedule. Let's see. Question by John on YouTube. Question about AP. Will you get stopped when you land back in the US or before departure to the US? Well, could be both, because before departure, like when you go to the what do you call that, check-in, I guess you can say, and also especially at the right before you board the plane, when you scan your code or whatever, or your QR code to get in the plane, get on the plane, they want to make sure you have, to some extent, even though they're not lawyers, obviously, to some extent, they want to make sure you're able to come back. Some people do it, some people don't. Some people are strict in that sense, and I can recall, at least for people who are have, like, what do you call that, remove conditions, the CR, conditional resident status, and they don't have the current card. They only have the extension notice, and they didn't have it physically with them. The what do you call the airlines agent person was strict. So that's an example. On the way back, yeah, I mean, everyone gets stopped, but I think you mean like deferred inspection or secondary inspection. That's certainly a possibility. Expect it, and if that happens, it could be 1 to 2 hours wait time. And I know it's super annoying, but that's what they claim, national security vetting for national security. Even though it's probably no issue, right? But they just have to do their job. It's annoying, but they have to do their job. So expect it. Doesn't happen for everyone, but they are obviously going to check to make sure you have AP. Okay. If they don't ask, you should tell them, right? Because they might just like reject you or decline you and say, "Hey, I got the AP right here." So you want to mention it. Will they provide us an I-94 after? So that is not on paper anymore. Many years ago, they transitioned to electronic. So they enter it into their own system. Sometimes they still stamp it in the passport, but it's all supposed to be recorded online. Which, if you DM us, then we'll happy to provide you the link to that. Okay. Seems a little scary for your wife. Absolutely. I mean, this it's definitely not easy peasy in that sense. But let's go ahead and get that application filed first online. Okay. But that's part of our representation is to provide peace of mind. Okay. Um, all right. Well, wish you the best, John. Okay. Julie asked on TikTok, price increase, how much? Depends on the case, but if you're talking about marriage case, let me see. Let me get my calculator, make sure something. Okay. Okay. The way I calculate, I anticipate that to be 2,375, which would include the work permit application and the advanced parole. Of course, you certainly don't have to apply for advanced parole, but yeah, you might want to just in case, especially if your parents are elderly and you have a pretty good idea. You might, I mean, a fairly decent idea, like, that could happen. I need to go back. Um, let's see here. Okay. What's Adam asked what city you live in? It's Houston, Texas. My office is in Houston. We got a physical office in Houston, Texas, which I know is a concern for some people because actually a good amount of people because there's you want to make sure we're legit. So we do have a Google business profile. You can Google Ting Law Group and find our Google reviews. Okay, over 300 5-star reviews. We really care about customer service. Let's see here. Case status online. Your case says still actively being reviewed, but PDF document says I-485 pending. So yeah, I mean, actively being reviewed is I would say misrepresentation. Don't overly rely on it. I've called into USCIS before, talked to the reps about the actual client case, and then I just at the towards the end of the call, I just asked, "Hey, by the way, you heard of this like update on the My USCIS account, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even this like actively being reviewed? Is it accurate?" And they all say no. I mean, realistically, you should know that anyway, because actively being reviewed can be shown on the computer screen for like months, but that doesn't actually mean someone's reviewing it like every day, right? So, yes, we are a world superpower. I get that, but that doesn't mean this agency has a shit together that I can accurately tell you, oh, your case is going to move to the next step in 2 or 3 weeks. Like that's just wishful thinking. I wish that was the case, and that's wishful thinking by the government as well. I mean, it clearly shows that they're trying, but you would think this day and age in 2024, they know how to. It's not even algorithm, I guess. It's like, why can't they just get it done in that amount of time if they're going to tell you that, right? So if they're not going to get it done in that amount of time, just don't tell you it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. All right, let's see. Thank you so much for the roses. Appreciate your trust in asking these questions. Okay. You're welcome, Nicholas. Yeah. Oh, you traveled to Cuba. Got it. Uh-huh. Lily, if you were deported in 2009 at the age of 14, I like that you put if, and came back right away, what are your options? So we could try to get dismissed. Okay, reopen dismissed. It's just good to have a clean record. Although technically, any unlawful presence under 18, um, well, that's separate, right? Unlawful presence is a separate thing from actually being deported and having something on order. But we've had 2019. Then that would be 10 years ago anyway. So it just depend. Yeah, it depends on your situation. But came right back. So you're in the U.S. now. Was it 2024 now, so it's 15 years ago. So there could be options, but first, number one, you need to have a sponsor. Okay, then we can talk more. So DM us or fill out our form on that link below our profile picture. All right, it's Tala. on TikTok. How long is the process for siblings over 21 sponsoring for the other siblings over 21 that lives in the US? Okay, great phrasing of the question. That's very, very specific scenario. And here's the deal. This is the F for family preference category. Anything in the family preference category, when it comes eventually to the 485 stage, you need to show that that, or your sibling needs to show that you have made he or she has maintained status if you're trying to adjust status in America. But 99.9% of people don't qualify for that waiver because maybe their parent deceased or the parent is abroad, doesn't have status in America, not a resident, not a US citizen. And so that sibling might not have a qualifying relative. And unfortunately, a US citizen sibling does not count as a qualifying relative. For this situation, um, you either need to show you maintain status, like let's say H1B, J1, any other non-immigrant status, or like F1 student visa, or to be able to adjust status in the US. Or other than that, then the default usually is consular process. And before having the visa interview, that's where I would stop y'all because some people get scheduled. You waited all this time, and then this happened. A lot of people inquire about this every year, and we say, "Hey, I see you finally got the interview scheduled, but I got to stop you on your tracks because of this situation. You haven't applied for a waiver and you need that to be able to come back in because even if hypothetically the officer abroad says everything looks good in your application, we were going to issue the visa. However, I see that you overstayed your visa or entered illegally in the US before. So now that you're outside the US, you triggered the 10-year bar. And then they might ask you, do you have any qualifying relatives? What the hell is that? So that's why you got to follow this channel. Okay. Green Card Guys TV. Follow up here, follow down there on your respective platform because we're giving you critical information. I'm supposed to tell you this is information, this is not legal advice. If you want specific legal advice for yourself, you definitely need to contact us one on one. Okay. So the best way to do that on TikTok, at least, is go to our profile. Below my picture is the link to we just want to guide y'all. Okay. I know everyone's got a budget, depends on you. I get it. We just want to point you in the right direction. And I feel like this is one of the best ways we can guide you and advocate for you to an extent is that, yeah, it may be preventing you from going abroad and not triggering that 10-year bar. That would suck. That's an immigration problem that I could try to prevent. Okay. So, again, hopefully you're not in that situation and you can move forward adjustment of status. Uh, Okosua, you are very kind. Thank you so much. Well, you're kind for saying that. Okay, I think I'm following in order here. Kimberly, on TikTok, your attorney said your case is going to take over 4+ years, but you've seen other people fix within 2 years. So I'm wondering, Kimberly, do you have like what do you call that? Where you need a waiver? Sorry, there's like so many case scenarios I have in my head. 4+ years. And who's your sponsor? That obviously matters a lot as well. Um, you're welcome. And again, especially if anyone I'm not able to answer your question like more in depth or give you a fairly pinpointed answer, send us a DM or um, fill out the form online. Okay. We're trying to start. We're trying to expand in the sense of giving value to you. That if you just have that one question. Um, we'll try to answer it by email or a video, but it is difficult, but we'll try. So you're welcome to send us an email and our information should be online there. Hey, Lucas on YouTube. Good to see you. Congrats again on your residency. I think that was for you. What's the deferred action for parents with son in the military? So this is related, I believe, referring to military parole in place. So if your parents enter the country without documentation, so some people call it illegally. I don't like to call it that, but that's what they say. Then this allows your parents to adjust status while in America. They don't have to leave the United States. Okay. There's a couple different ways to go about it. But the most important evidence, of course, is I don't know if this is your brother or something, but or you're asking on behalf of someone else, but their son needs to provide a DD 214. This is a military ID. It can be active duty or reserves. Okay. Hopefully that gives you an idea. Hey, Shay, when should you file the I-485 application before the I-130 approval or not? It depends on your scenario, your facts. Like number one, the default question we ask is, did you enter United States with a visa? If you did, and you never left after that, Shay, then you can go ahead and file the 485 now before the I-130 approval, because again, the fees are going up. So consider that, okay? And then let's see. But if your sponsor, I'm sorry, let me add a caveat to that, Shay. If your sponsor is a resident and you need to show that you maintain status, and so if you haven't maintained status, then I do not recommend file the 485 right now because it could get um, an RFE, but even after RFE, it could get denied because you won't have the proof to show that you maintain status. So a lot of several questions there. Send us a DM or schedule a meeting if you'd like to understand further. Folks, I try to provide like succinct answers, but lawyers like to talk a lot. I can share like very detailed answer in a meeting or session, or of course one of our attorneys. Thanks for the gifts. Appreciate it. Hope you all doing good today. It is a bit gloomy here in Houston. Hopefully everything's going great weather-wise on your neck of the woods. All right, on TikTok, Ath Ziri, MTZ on TikTok. Normally, how long after parents of a U.S. citizen get a work permit approved do they get a green card? Okay, how soon will they get the green card after the work permit? There's no, there's no, oh, someone accidentally FaceTime me. I don't even know that number. Someone, there's no time period. There's no black and white date, but it's to give you an idea on terms of dates or processing time, if it was to consider filing a lawsuit for adjustment of status, 485 application for us internally, we would wait 18 months after the filing date, the receipt date. So even if you get the work permit pretty quickly or your parents, and that doesn't necessarily mean the green card is going to come right after that. Shay, thanks so much for the roses. Let's see. Someone had another question that was on the back of my mind too. Let's see if I go down here. Oh, Miss Silva, I believe. Okay. You want to make an appointment today? Okay. For COR cancellation removal, I believe you're asking about. Absolutely. You could probably definitely talk to one of our cares team specialists. If not today, then maybe tomorrow. Usually the next day we only have like one or two appointments available. But go ahead and quickly go to our profile page and answer a few questions. Of course, lawyers like to ask a lot of questions. Our team tried to reduce the number of questions. I think it's like six, maybe. All righty. By the way, folks, if you do schedule with us or another attorney, I can just assure you this is that if you want to get the most advice possible, I don't want to say the best, but at least the most advice possible, as thorough as possible, if your case has been denied, RFE, NOID, you get appeals, anything, especially if it's recent, you need to for us upload that. Okay, upload that document so we can take a look at it. We'll try our best to review it before the meeting, but if anything, during the meeting. Okay, just so it's right there in our system. Um, because of course the denial letter or RFE NOID has a decent amount of content of exactly what USCIS denied you with, or their reasoning essentially. Okay. But if you don't upload it when you fill out the form the first time, it's okay. You can email it after. Okay, I could probably stay on about 5 more minutes, folks. Thank you so much. Lisa, Lisa Kime on TikTok. Your interview went well. Then your I-130 was approved last week. And how long before you get the green card? So it sounds like you're waiting on the 485 uh, decision. I know you would think it comes out the same day as the I-130, but technically it's two different tracks, it's two different applications. So, but usually the 485, like if you get the I-130 on Thursday, Friday, then the 485 should come out this week. Definitely. Sometimes we get it like one day after. I know it's strange what they do logistically, but the actual green card, it's usually, if approved, then it's usually up to 5 weeks after the 485 approval. Um, but if it's more than that, then you may want to submit an inquiry. Okay. And also, um, for some of the folks, just because some people ask, why is if my 485 application was denied, why is my I-130 approved? Like, why is one approved, one denied? Because even if they think that your relationship is not bona fide, is what the legal language you use, or in your sense, like not legit, okay? That doesn't take away from the fact that the marriage itself was a legally binding marriage. Okay, the 485 is partially about, was the marriage entered into, bona fide, faithfully, that you entered into it to not obtain an immigration benefit, which of course everyone might think, well, of course I'm applying to get a green card, but it's backtracking the intent. Did you get married for the purpose of getting a green card? Or is it for legit purposes, like you want to be with this person for the rest of your life? So that's a key difference some people don't realize. Let's see here. On YouTube here. Okay. Elmer, can a wife husband be added to 45 as a dependent if overstayed visa? Okay, so you're saying a spouse? No, it has to be a separate application in general. It has nothing to do about the overstay. I mean, overstay is good in this sense. I'm assuming no exits outside US since then, but it's not as a dependent. You have to file a separate application per person. Lucas, your friend's mom has permanent bar, but he's in the army. Still possible for her to get the papers inside the U.S. I would have to do a little research on that one. Okay, so if you want to ask your friend or a friend's mom to get in touch with us and see if there's any paperwork, we can make sure. But yeah, I have to double check on that. Okay. Hmm. Because generally speaking, yeah, the facts could be different depending on person, but generally speaking, it's possible because permanent bar doesn't mean permanent. I know it's weird, but permanent, like there's a 10-year bar, and that means like by default, yeah, I'll wait 10 years, but you can apply for a waiver of those 10 years, but a permanent bar cannot be waived. So I anticipate at least it's already been 10 years. So that's okay on that fact. But yeah, I would want to do research, or our team do research to see if applying for parole in place would also allow the ability to waive the permanent bar in general. Okay. Thanks so much for the question. Alrighty. Sheen Tariq on TikTok. How long after DQ for an interview date? Generally, I would say expect at least 6 months. And if you're from a country where it's the Middle East, you might know this, but U.S. government tends to discriminate, unfortunately. So because of post 9/11, even though it's so many years ago, what is it, 23 years ago? I mean, God, prayers to those that lost family members and friends in 9/11. But it's been 23 years ago. So for immigration purposes, they need to do a better job of vetting for background. It seems like they're just like slap on this category label on people simply because they're from a certain country and for no other reason. Uh, yeah, it's just ridiculous. So I would say at least 6 months. Okay, but every consulate embassy could be longer. Nora, cases actively being reviewed F1 family category. What does this mean? So if you say case actively being reviewed, I'm anticipating that means on the I-130 stage for the petition. So that's step number one. And so I mentioned earlier, it doesn't actually mean the case is being reviewed like in the moment. That would be great. Um, but it could be actively being reviewed for like 3 months. But again, that doesn't mean the case being reviewed for 3 months. Okay. Hopefully that gives an answer to your question. All right. Hey, Koga, or anyone wondering, if you have a question, you don't have to ask or tell me you have a question. Just go and just ask it. Fortunately, I was able to see yours, Koga. Okay. Do you know why DACA renewal are taking way longer? You're welcome, Nora. You know what? Let me check that real quick. I was yesterday. I was trying to get on the processing time schedule on the website uscs.gov, but it wasn't working. The drop down menu. So let's try again. Yours, DACA. Okay. I mean, for us, fortunately, it's been average 1 to 3 months, but hopefully it hasn't been that long for you, but it seems like it. Okay. Well, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's not letting me go on a drop down menu here. Pretty ridiculous. Okay. Uh, the website's not working. Drop down. In the meantime, let me see if I can answer another question here. Okay. How long does it take to receive? Oops. How long does it take to receive the card and the green card in the mail? I mean, after decision notice approval, up to 5 weeks. Fortunately for us, 1 to 2 weeks. Uh, let's. All right, finally on Safari it worked today. Safari didn't work yesterday either. What was that question about DACA? All right, let's go to 821D. All right, no, is yours Nebraska Service Center says 3 months, and Vermont Service Center says C notes. What the? They should not send any case to Vermont Service Center. They always. I need a screenshot of this one. This is a new thing. It says C notes. I'm telling y'all, folks, that could. Oh man, your case might be. Is it Goha or something? You may have. Your case might be at Vermont Service Center. And even with what it says, shows online at uscs.gov, processing times page, it's clearly not always accurate. So you might look at it and say, oh, California Service Center. Is that what it said? I'm sorry, Nebraska Service Center for DACA renewal, 3 months. Like, and it said, and then your case is going on 4 months, 6 months. You're like, what the hell's going on? Yeah, I mean, the only way to hold them accountable to get your decision, secure your legal status, sue them. That's what we do in America. I love doing it. My law firm loves suing the government, but we can't do it for everyone because it depends on your timing. Okay. If you're at 4 months, it's too early to sue, right? If you're like 8 months on a DACA renewal, we'll definitely sue. Alrighty. Thanks for the sharing the live show. Appreciate it. All right, John on TikTok. Good afternoon to you, sir. Is there a way to address 221G for K1 visa? Absolutely. Again, we love to sue the government, but it depends on timing. Did you just get the interview? Did you just complete the, or your fiance complete the interview recently? We generally prefer to wait 6 months minimum for a 221G situation for regardless of visa type. Um, U.S. attorneys push back and say you got to wait a year, but I know some of y'all just can't wait. Okay, you want to get some kind of activity, see if there's any way possible. So even if U.S. attorneys do push back a bit, they tend to the judges and pushback meaning like they file a motion to dismiss. It has been happening more frequently, but that should not be a reason for you to shy away from suing the government. Okay, whether it's USCIS or the State Department, specific embassy or consulate, it should not be a reason to shy away because if we don't push back collectively, then imagine it's like a bully. The U.S. government is essentially a bully for delaying cases and denying people incorrectly. And it's very unfortunate. But if you don't push back, then a bully is going to continue to be a bully. Okay. Simon. Simon, thanks for saying stop repeating questions. He will get to you. That's funny. Maybe you have some automated bot to do that. Whimsical, how long would it take to file for spouse? I mean, in 2023 at least, and so far in 2024, the trend has been when they waive the interview. Usually, when they waive the interview, it'll be about average 3 to 5 months. Okay, but not everyone has that experience. And even I had a case I remember, and I went to the interview. It was about 5 month mark. No, no, no. It was 3 to 4 months last summer. I remember, and that had an interview, but that was approved fairly quickly as well with an interview as well. uh, let's see. Well, Shay, hopefully you heard my question, my answer earlier. If you didn't, then you need to DM me because I can't repeat answers. I need to move on to the next person. Um, Tuma, you have a question. It's been 2 years since you adopted your daughter's immigration, since your daughter's immigration, adopted daughter's immigration case. Shoot, now I don't know where your follow-up question is. Okay, I think I found it. What to do on a delayed case. So what part of what we do initially for y'all in a strategy session is to verify that you truly have a delayed case in the sense that we can sue the government. Because a lot of y'all, of course, I get it. It's human nature. We all want things to be done as a reasonable time. So that's why mandamus lawsuits based on unreasonable time. But of course, the government wants to make their own definition of what is unreasonable. Now we can come up with one too. That's the part of reason of suing. But we don't want to sue if we believe that it's not unreasonable yet in terms of overall cases, if that makes sense, based on a similar situation. Okay. So hopefully that helps. And we're not, we don't make this stuff up. Look, if there's no timing, delay timing that matters, look, we're so gung ho that hey, we'll sue the government, but we don't want your fees to go to waste in that sense. We want to balance it out and to make sure it's in our own framework of timing. That we also speak with other colleagues that do the same thing. Okay. Okay, I got a couple more minutes, so I can probably answer two more questions. Oh shoot, Alyssa, buddy, Alyssa's question on TikTok here. It sounds like we definitely need to talk because I don't want you to have um, the wrong expectation here. But I can give you a snippet here. Alyssa says green card interview is next week, but you still have 1 year left to complete the 2 year home requirement. So it's very likely, especially if you don't have a lawyer, you're likely going to get denied. And the officer, if they reviewed the file, they will likely tell you that at the very beginning, because they want to do the whole interview like 15, 30 minutes later and be like, I see that you shouldn't be here. Like so when people mention green card interview, um, I associate that with you being a person being in the United States as opposed to a visa interview abroad. So if you're still here, you can apply for like what do you call it, exception. So maybe you did that already and you haven't mentioned that, but let me know, okay? Send me a DM if you can. Since you're on TikTok, it's easier to connect. Oh, oops, did I say that out loud? I'll be waiting for the day they make it easier on YouTube. Um, yeah, because Alyssa, if you or anyone in a similar situation, if you had an attorney, we would we would try to ask for reschedule if you haven't applied for those exceptions, and there's at least 3 to 4. But one of them, because when you say 2 year home requirement, I should have mentioned this, but for the foundation here, it makes me I think what you're talking about is you have J1 visa with the 2 year restriction. So technically, those 2 years, as you probably know, have to be outside the U.S. But at the same time, if you haven't left, then you can apply for exception. Okay. Hopefully, that's a bit helpful to you. All right. One more question, as promised. Let's see. A lot of questions about if you've been delayed, whatnot. Contact us. Okay. Send us a DM or go to our profile page. Click on the link on a respective platform. At least on TikTok, it's under the picture my profile picture, click on that link. It should be, and after that should be the very first link. Okay. So please know if you're just now joining, last couple of minutes here, 5-10 minutes, we the whole point is for us to guide you in terms of fulfilling our mission is to help you secure legal status. Okay. And we don't want to charge you for the strategy session, but we do have to charge this amount as a hold. Okay. To really make sure you show up. I know it sounds weird, but if you don't show up, it really kills us in a way. Like we feel bad. Like that spot could have gone to someone else who cares more about the case. Not saying you wouldn't care about your case. I get it. You might get pulled into work, but whatnot. But yeah, it's really like a reservation slash hold of this amount. Okay, it's less than a cup of coffee. Okay, I mean even a toy is probably more expensive than that. And if you show up, we'll refund it. We're happy to do it. All right. Um, Nancy asked if I can answer a question about B2 visas. You may have had a follow-up question. I don't see it right now. There's a lot of questions. I greatly appreciate it. But any question kind of like that about visitor visas, we're happy to invite you to a webinar series. I just don't have that ready like tomorrow. But if you're interested in a webinar where you're more you have questions that require more in-depth answer, not necessarily strategy only, but just see if you're qualified, eligible to apply. We're gonna have webinars set up. So that's probably gonna start hopefully next week. But send us a DM, just type in webinar, okay? Whatever topic or application you're thinking about filing, even if it's for you or for someone else, okay? Then we can send you the proper link. All right, folks. Thank you so much for your questions. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, you want to contact me, our office, go to profile page on TikTok right up there. There's a link. And if you already got great service from our team, if you don't mind, go to reviewtinglaw.com. We greatly appreciate it. We'll love your feedback. And because we literally, our leadership team, including myself, train our team almost every day about customer service, client service, even if you're not a client. Okay. We want to treat everyone with respect for sure. Alrighty. You all have a great day. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care. And y'all know what to do. I don't know why I made that noise.